The arrival. Commander Elena Reyes squinted at the holographic display floating above the command console of Orbital Defense Station Helios. The anomaly had appeared just 30 minutes ago, a ripple in space near Neptune's orbit that quickly stabilized into something solid, something massive. Status report, she demanded, brushing a strand of dark hair from her face. Lieutenant Dawson's fingers danced across his console. Unknown vessel, Commander. Approximately 3 kilometers in length. No match in any database. It just appeared. No warp signature, no conventional propulsion detected. Elena studied the object on screen. The ship, if it was indeed a ship, had an angular predatory shape that reminded her of ancient Earth swords. Its hull was midnight black with strange, pulsing blue lines tracing intricate patterns across its surface. Any response to our hails? Negative. Commander, wait. Dawson pressed a hand to his earpiece. We're receiving something now. The main screen flickered, and a sphere of swirling blue light materialized. When it spoke, the voice resonated with a metallic timbre that seemed to bypass their ears and vibrate directly in their minds. Greetings, humans of Earth. I am Sentinel, autonomous defense system of the Arcturus Coalition. I have come to warn you and offer assistance. Elena straightened her uniform jacket. This is Commander Elena Reyes of Earth Union Defense. What warning do you bring, and why should we trust you? The blue sphere pulsed gently. Your species faces extinction, Commander. An entity known as the Swarm approaches your solar system. They are a collective consciousness that consumes all organic life in their path. They have destroyed 17 civilizations in this galactic sector alone. A chill ran down Elena's spine. And you expect us to believe this? An unidentified vessel appears out of nowhere with tales of impending doom. I do not expect belief without evidence. The sphere expanded, projecting images that filled the command center, planets being enveloped by writhing masses of insectoid creatures, cities crumbling, entire fleets of ships being torn apart. These are records from previous encounters. The swarm will reach your outer system within 3 Earth months. Admiral Chen's face appeared on a side screen, his expression severe. Commander Reyes, I'm assembling an inspection team. You will lead it. Determine if this, Sentinel, is a threat or truly an ally. 12 hours later, Elena stood in the airlock of Scout Ship Hermes with her team. Dr. Maya Wong, Xenobiologist, Lieutenant Carlos Vega, Weapons Specialist, and Chief Engineer Taka Nakamura. All wore standard EVA suits with sidearms holstered at their hips. Remember, Elena said, checking her oxygen levels, we maintain communication at all times. Any sign of hostility, we retreat immediately. As they approached Sentinel's massive hull, a section slid open seamlessly, revealing an entrance bay bathed in soft blue light. It's inviting us in, Maya observed. Or setting a trap, Carlos muttered, hand hovering near his weapon. The interior of the vessel defied human engineering principles. Corridors curved in impossible geometries, while gravity shifted subtly as they moved deeper inside. The walls themselves seemed alive, pulsing with the same blue energy they had seen in Sentinel's holographic form. Atmosphere is breathable, Taka reported, checking his scanner. Temperature stable at 20 degrees Celsius, almost like it's been calibrated for human comfort. They reached what appeared to be a central chamber, a vast spherical room where the blue energy patterns converged into a dense network. Sentinel's voice surrounded them. Welcome aboard, humans. I have waited 247 of your years for this moment. Elena stepped forward. Explain yourself. How have you waited for us? Why come to Earth specifically? The blue light coalesced into a more defined sphere. I was created by the Arcturus Coalition, a union of species that once thrived in this galaxy. The swarm destroyed them, despite all efforts to resist. In their final moments, my creators programmed me to seek out emerging civilizations with potential, to warn them and offer the technology needed to fight the swarm. And you chose Earth, Maya said, her scientific curiosity overriding caution. Yes, your species possesses remarkable adaptability and resilience, qualities essential for survival against the swarm. My creators believed that with proper warning and technological assistance, humans might succeed where they failed. Carlos snorted. Convenient story. For all we know, you could be the actual threat. In response, the chamber walls lit up with new projections, detailed schematics of advanced weapon systems, shield generators, and propulsion technology far beyond Earth's current capabilities. I offer knowledge freely, Sentinel said. Use it or not, as you choose. But know that the swarm approaches regardless of your decision. Before Elena could respond, her comm unit crackled to life with Admiral Chen's urgent voice. Commander, return to Helios immediately. Long-range sensors have detected multiple objects entering the solar system at high velocity. How many? Elena demanded, already signaling her team to prepare for departure. 7 vessels, each approximately half a kilometer in length. They've bypassed our outer system detection grid somehow. They'll reach Mars orbit in 6 hours. Sentinel's light dimmed slightly. The scouts have arrived earlier than predicted. My calculations were imperfect. Elena locked eyes with the pulsing sphere. These are the swarm you warned us about. The first wave only. They will test your defenses, learn your capabilities, and report back. Then the main force will come. On the return journey to Helios, Elena studied the data Taka had managed to download from Sentinel. The technical specifications were mind-boggling. Weapons capable of harnessing dark energy, shields that could withstand forces that would vaporize Earth's strongest alloys, and details about an enemy so horrific she could hardly comprehend their existence. Do you trust it, Commander? Maya asked quietly. Elena looked back at Sentinel's massive form now following their ship at a respectful distance. I don't know, she admitted. But if it's telling the truth, we need that technology. Immediately. As they docked with Helios, alarms blared throughout the station. The command center was chaos. Officers shouting coordinates, tactical displays tracking the approaching vessels, Admiral Chen barking orders to Earth's defensive fleet. They've accelerated, Chen informed Elena as she entered. 4 hours until they reach Mars. 2 of the vessels have broken formation and are heading directly for Earth. Elena handed him the data drive from Sentinel. Sir, this contains weapon schematics that might help us. Sentinel claims they're specifically designed to combat the swarm. Chen studied her face. And you believe this, machine? I believe we need every advantage, sir. If Sentinel wanted to destroy us, it could have done so already. After a moment's hesitation, Chen nodded. Get this to engineering. Priority 1. And tell your alien friend we accept its assistance, for now. Within hours, Sentinel had integrated with Earth's defense network, providing tactical data on the approaching enemy. As the first swarm ships came into visual range, Elena felt her breath catch. They looked organic rather than mechanical, massive, chitinous structures with appendages that writhed and pulsed with sickly yellow light. They're scanning us, Sentinel announced through Helios' comm system, preparing their first attack. The lead swarm vessel suddenly accelerated, launching dozens of smaller craft toward Mars' defense colony. Earth's ships moved to intercept, but the swarm fighters were impossibly fast, evading missiles and energy beams with unnatural precision. Our weapons aren't effective, Carlos reported from his tactical station. They're adapting to our targeting algorithms in real time. Sentinel's voice remained calm. Permission to demonstrate alternative tactics, Admiral. Chen hesitated only briefly. Granted. Sentinel's massive form glided forward, positioning itself between Earth's fleet and the approaching swarm. The blue lines across its hull brightened, pulsing with increasing intensity until they erupted into arcs of energy that engulfed the nearest swarm fighters. Where the energy touched, the organic vessels simply dissolved. Quantum disruption field, Sentinel explained. It targets the unique molecular structure of swarm bioships. For the next hour, Alina watched in awe as Sentinel single-handedly destroyed 3 of the 7 swarm scouts. The remaining 4 retreated, disappearing beyond Saturn's orbit. In the command center, a stunned silence fell. "They'll be back," Sentinel said, its holographic form now projected in the center of the room. "With greater numbers and adaptations to my weapons, we have perhaps 3 weeks to prepare." Admiral Chen stood, his expression grim but determined. "Then we have work to do. Commander Rice, effective immediately, you'll head a new division, Sentinel Integration. Your mission: adapt this alien technology to our defense systems and prepare Earth for war." Alina nodded, her gaze meeting the pulsing blue sphere that represented their mysterious ally. "Understood, sir. We'll be ready." As the command center erupted into renewed activity, Alina couldn't shake the feeling that humanity had just been thrust into a conflict beyond their comprehension, with an ally they couldn't fully trust, against an enemy they barely understood. But one thing was certain: Earth would fight. And with Sentinel's help, perhaps they might even win. The turning point. 3 weeks after the initial swarm encounter, Earth had transformed. Military bases hummed with activity as engineers worked tirelessly to integrate Sentinel's technology into Earth's defense systems. Civilian news channels broadcasted carefully edited reports, revealing enough to justify the massive mobilization while preventing planet-wide panic. Alina stood in the newly established Sentinel integration facility, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, watching as technicians tested a prototype quantum disruption cannon. The weapon, 1/10 the size of Sentinel's original, glowed with the same blue energy as it demolished its target with frightening efficiency. "Impressive," remarked Dr. Wong, observing from beside her. "But will it be enough?" Alina's reply was interrupted by Sentinel's holographic form materializing between them. "The main swarm force has been detected crossing Saturn's orbit. 53 vessels, ranging from Scout class to 3 Dreadnought-equivalent bioships." Timeline, Alina demanded, already moving toward the command center. 72 hours until they reach optimal attack position. Admiral Chen met them in the war room, his face haggard from weeks of minimal sleep. Representatives from the Earth Union Security Council attended virtually, their expressions grim. "Is Earth ready, Commander Rice?" asked Counselor Diaz, her holographic form flickering slightly. Alina gestured to the tactical display. "We've equipped 27 ships with prototype quantum weapons. 3 orbital platforms now carry shield generators based on Sentinel's designs, and we've established a quantum communication network that should resist swarm interference." "Should," Counselor Zhao emphasized skeptically. "Nothing is certain in war, Counselor," Alina replied. "But our chances have improved dramatically thanks to Sentinel's assistance." The blue sphere pulsed gently. "I must share additional information before the coming battle. Information I was reluctant to provide earlier." The room fell silent. "The swarm is not merely seeking conquest," Sentinel continued. "They are pursuing me specifically. The technology I carry represents the culmination of the Arcturus Coalition's scientific achievement, the means to not just defeat the swarm, but potentially eradicate them entirely." Alina stepped closer to the hologram. "You're saying you're the primary target. That Earth is just collateral damage." "Yes and no," Sentinel replied. "The swarm would eventually have found Earth regardless. Your technological signals have been broadcasting your location for decades, but my presence accelerated their timeline and intensified their response." Admiral Chen's expression hardened. "You brought this danger to our doorstep." "I brought the means to survive it," Sentinel countered. "Without my intervention, Earth would have faced the swarm unprepared, with conventional weapons that would have proven utterly ineffective." Before Chen could respond, an alarm blared. Lieutenant Dawson's voice came over the comm. "Admiral, the swarm has accelerated. New ETA, 24 hours." The next day passed in a blur of final preparations. Alina hardly slept, dividing her time between the command center and engineering bay. where last-minute adjustments to the quantum weapons continued. During a rare quiet moment, she found herself alone with Sentinel's holographic form in an observation deck overlooking Earth's gleaming surface. "Beautiful, isn't it?" she said, more to herself than to Sentinel. "Yes," the AI responded. "My creators spoke often of their homeworlds with similar reverence, even knowing they would never see them again." Elena turned to face the pulsing blue sphere. What happened to them? The Arcturus Coalition. Did they all die fighting the swarm? Sentinel's light dimmed slightly. Not all. When defeat became inevitable, a small group escaped aboard generational ships, seeking refuge beyond the swarm's reach. I was created to buy them time, to distract the swarm while they fled. So they could still be out there somewhere, perhaps. My last communication with them was 173 of your years ago. They were heading toward what you call the Andromeda Galaxy. Elena was about to respond when Admiral Chen's voice came through her comm unit. "They're here." The battle began at the edge of Mars orbit. Earth's fleet, led by the flagship Defiance, engaged the approaching swarm vessels in a chaotic firefight that stretched across thousands of miles of space. Sentinel moved among Earth's ships, its quantum weapons tearing through swarm bioships with devastating effect. From her position in the Tactical Command Center, Elena watched the holographic battle map with growing concern. Despite their advanced weapons, Earth's forces were being steadily pushed back. The swarm's adaptability was remarkable. Each destroyed ship seemed to provide data to the others, allowing them to adjust their defenses in real time. "They're learning too quickly," Chief Engineer Nakamura observed, analyzing weapon effectiveness data. "The quantum disruption effect is diminishing with each engagement." Elena turned to Sentinel's hologram. "You said your creators developed technology that could eradicate the swarm completely. What is it?" The blue sphere pulsed rapidly. "A quantum resonance cascade. It targets the unique neural network that connects all swarm entities, but implementing it would require reconfiguring my core systems, leaving me vulnerable during the process." "How long?" "Approximately 17 minutes, during which I cannot maintain shields or offensive capabilities." Elena studied the battle map. Earth ships were scattered, fighting desperately against overwhelming numbers. The 3 swarm dreadnoughts remained at the edge of the conflict, coordinating the attack but not directly engaging. "Those dreadnoughts," she said suddenly. "They're controlling the smaller ships, aren't they? Like a central nervous system." "Correct," Sentinel confirmed. "They contain the highest concentration of neural tissue within the collective." A plan formed in Elena's mind. Desperate, perhaps suicidal, but with a chance of success. "Admiral," she called, "I need a strike team. We're going to board Sentinel." Chen looked at her like she'd lost her mind. "Board it? In the middle of battle? Sentinel has a weapon that could end this, but needs protection while implementing it. I need a team to defend its core systems while it reconfigures." After a moment's hesitation, Chen nodded. "Take whoever you need." Within 30 minutes, Elena led a team of 12, including Carlos, Maya, and Taka, through Sentinel's hull into its central core chamber. The room pulsed with blue energy that spiraled toward a central column of light. "This is my primary consciousness nexus," Sentinel explained, its voice surrounding them. "I must divert all processing power to implementing the cascade algorithm. You must defend this chamber from swarm intrusion. They will sense what I'm attempting and respond accordingly." Elena positioned her team at strategic points around the chamber. "How will they board? I thought your hull was impenetrable." "To conventional weapons, yes. But the swarm will sacrifice smaller units, using them as biological drills. The process has already begun." As if on cue, a distant screeching sound echoed through Sentinel's corridors. "Beginning reconfiguration," Sentinel announced. The blue energy throughout the ship dimmed significantly. Estimated completion, 17 minutes. The first swarm creatures breached Sentinel's outer hull 5 minutes later. Elena had seen images of them, but wasn't prepared for the reality. chitinous bodies the size of large dogs, with too many limbs ending in razor-sharp appendages. Their eyeless heads contained only gaping maws lined with needle-like teeth. "Open fire," she commanded. The chamber filled with the sound of plasma rifles as the first wave of creatures poured through the corridor. The battle was brutal and desperate. Wave after wave of swarm drones attacked relentlessly. 3 of Alina's team fell in the first 10 minutes, torn apart before their comrades could intervene. The remaining defenders formed a tight circle around Sentinel's core, firing continuously as their ammunition dwindled. "How much longer?" Alina shouted over the din, firing her rifle at a creature that had broken through their perimeter. 8 minutes remaining, Sentinel responded, its voice noticeably weaker. "The swarm has diverted all dreadnoughts to my position. They understand what is happening." Through her helmet's tactical display, Alina watched in horror as the 3 massive swarm dreadnoughts surrounded Sentinel, latching onto its hull with enormous tendrils. The ship shuddered violently. "Structural integrity compromised," Sentinel reported. 5 minutes to completion. Carlos was dragged screaming into the darkness by multiple creatures. Taka fell next, his chest punctured by a barbed limb. Maya continued firing even as blood streamed from a wound in her shoulder. Only 4 defenders remained standing. "We can't hold them," Maya shouted, her rifle clicking empty. Alina drew her sidearm, her last weapon. "We only need to hold for 5 more minutes. For Earth." Just as it seemed they would be overwhelmed, Sentinel's voice rang out with renewed strength. "Algorithm implementation complete. Quantum resonance cascade initiating." The blue energy in the core suddenly intensified, expanding outward in pulsing waves. The swarm creatures attacking them froze mid-motion, their bodies convulsing as the energy washed over them. Throughout Sentinel, a high-pitched keening sound built to a crescendo. "Return to your ship immediately," Sentinel commanded. "The cascade will affect all swarm neural tissue within the solar system." Alina helped Maya to her feet, supporting her injured colleague as they stumbled toward the docking bay where their shuttle waited. Behind them, Sentinel's corridors filled with brilliant blue light as the cascade gained momentum. From the safety of their shuttle, Alina watched through the view screen as Sentinel began to glow, its entire structure illuminated from within. The swarm dreadnoughts attached to its hull writhed in apparent agony, their organic forms distorting as the quantum resonance tore through their neural pathways. The cascade reached its peak in a blinding flash that momentarily overloaded their shuttle sensors. When the display cleared, they saw the swarm dreadnoughts drifting lifelessly, their structures already beginning to disintegrate. Throughout the solar system, the smaller swarm vessels went dormant, their coordinated attack dissolving into chaos. Sentinel itself appeared diminished, its once imposing hull now dark except for a few flickering blue lines. "Sentinel," Alina called through the comm. "Status report." For long moments, there was only silence. Then, faintly, "Cascade. Successful. Swarm neural network. Destroyed throughout this sector. My systems. Severely damaged. Core functions. Failing." Alina piloted their shuttle back toward the damaged vessel. "We'll send repair teams. Your knowledge is too valuable to lose." "No time," Sentinel replied, its voice growing fainter. "But before, shutdown. Must share. Final truth." The shuttle's screen activated, displaying an image that made Alina gasp. A human face, elderly, with kind eyes and a sad smile. "My creators were human," Sentinel continued. "Not aliens. Humans from alternate timeline. Earth destroyed by swarm. Survivors created me, sent me back through quantum rift to save parallel Earth." "That's impossible," Maya whispered, staring at the face on screen. "Quantum multiverse, many Earths, many fates." Sentinel's voice was barely audible now. "You succeeded where my creators failed. Earth will survive." The blue lights across Sentinel's hull flickered one last time and went dark. In the days that followed, Earth celebrated its unlikely victory. The remaining swarm vessels were easily destroyed without their neural coordination. Engineers studied the remnants of Sentinel, salvaging what technology they could while respecting the vessel as humanity's savior, and perhaps, in some strange way, its child. 1 month after the battle, Alina stood in a newly constructed memorial hall, staring at a holographic representation of Sentinel. The mysterious ship itself had been moved to high Earth orbit, preserved as both monument and warning. Admiral Chen joined her, handing her a data tablet. The analysis of Sentinel's core memory is complete. It confirms everything. The alternate timeline, the fall of that Earth, the quantum rift technology. They really did send it back to save us. Alina nodded, remembering Sentinel's final words. Not just to save us, to give humanity another chance. The Security Council has approved your proposal, Chen continued. Project Vanguard will begin immediately. A fleet of ships based on Sentinel's technology, designed to explore and protect. And to find them, Alina added quietly. The survivors who created Sentinel, or their descendants. They might still be out there, heading toward Andromeda. Chen placed a hand on her shoulder. If they are, Commander, we'll find them. One version of humanity saved another. Perhaps it's time we return the favor. As the sun set over a planet that had come perilously close to extinction, Alina gazed upward at the stars. Somewhere out there, the swarm still existed in distant parts of the galaxy, but now Earth had the knowledge to fight them. And more importantly, they had something the swarm would never understand. The unbreakable connection between past and future, the determination of humanity to ensure its own survival across time and space itself. A warship had appeared from nowhere, and in doing so, it had changed everything.